Hi everyone, we can start with class 8 geography chapter number 1, that is resources. In this chapter, we want to discuss about what is resources, types of resources like natural resources, human-made resources, human resources, and thirdly we want to discuss the classifications of natural resources such as level of development and use, origin, renewability, distribution, and last we want to discuss how we can conserve the resources. We can discuss it in detail. First, what is resources? Everything available in our environment which can be used to satisfy a need is called resource. So in our daily life, we are using different type of resources for satisfying our needs. That means for example, the water which we drink, or the fruits or the food which we eat. So something like that, what are the things we are utilizing in our daily life in order to satisfy our needs? Such things are called resources. For example, the iron ore, water, soil, coal, and petroleum. These are the examples of resources. So next, we want to discuss the types of resources. Resources are generally classified into three. They are natural resources, human-made resources, and human resources. Next, we can discuss in detail. First one is natural resources. Natural resources are those resources that are obtained from nature and are used without much modification. Here, in a simple sense, we can say that naturally obtained resources are called natural resources. For example, the air, water, soil, rock, such things are called natural resources. It is originating or we are getting naturally. So such resources are called natural resources. The next, human-made resources. Resources which are created from the natural resources by the human being to produce useful products are called human-made resources like roads, machinery, vehicles, etc. Here, by utilizing the natural resources, the human being producing something more useful product or value-added product. Such products are called human-made resources. Here the raw material is natural resources. By utilizing the natural resources, the human being is producing something more useful. Such products are called the human-made resources. For example, the tar is an example for natural resources. By utilizing the tar, we are constructing the roads. With the help of different type of metals we used to make a different type of machineries or vehicles. So these are the examples for man-made resources. The next, we want to discuss about human resource. Human resource refers to the number and the ability of the people. People can make the best use of nature to create more resources when they have the knowledge, skill, and technology. Which means the educated, healthy, and skilled persons are considered as the resource person of our country. They can utilize the nature and the other resources for the development and growth of our country. So the healthy, educated, and skilled person are considered as the resource person. The next, we want to discuss the classifications of natural resources. Natural resources classify into different groups depending upon their level of development and use, origin, renewability, and distribution. We can discuss in detail. The first, level of development and use. The natural resource we can divide into two on the basis of its level of development and use, such as actual resource and potential resource. The actual resource means the resources whose quantity is known. Resources are being used in present. Examples, coal and petroleum. Which means some resources we are using at present. For example, the petroleum and natural gas or the coal. We are utilizing since a long period. So we know the exact quantity of such resources. We know how much quantity or how much deposit we have. We know the exact quantity and we are utilizing at present. So these are the main objectives or the features of the actual resource. The next one is the potential resource. The potential resource means the resource whose quantity is unknown. We don't know how much quantity we have. Then these are not used at present. At present, we are not utilizing. In a large scale, we are not utilizing such resource. For example, the wind energy, the solar energy, then the tidal energy or the geothermal energy. So these are the examples of the potential resource. We have the potential, but at present we are not utilizing due to the lack of technology. Then next, we want to discuss about the origin. On the basis of origin, we can classify the natural resources into two. They are abiotic resources and biotic resources. The abiotic resources are the non-living resources. The non-living resources, all non-living resources are called abiotic resources. For example, the soil, rock, and different type of minerals or metals. So it doesn't have the life. So the non-living resources are called abiotic resources. And on the other hand, the biotic resources, which means all the living resources. For example, the plants and animals, it have life. So all the living resources are called biotic resources. The next, we want to discuss about the renewability. On the basis of renewability, we can divide the natural resources into two. They are renewable resources and non-renewable resources. The renewable resources which are renewed or replenished quickly, we can recreate it or we can reproduce it quickly. Such resources are called renewable resources. For example, water, soil, forest, and sunlight. So we can recreate it or we can replenish it quickly within a short period of time. Such resources are called renewable resources. On the other hand, the non-renewable resources, just opposite, non-renewable. We cannot renew it in a short period of time. It will take thousands of years. The non-renewable resources, which may take thousands of years, be renewed or replenished. So in order to recreate or in order to reproduce such resource, we will take thousands of years. Such resources are called non-renewable resources. For example, coal, petroleum, and natural gas. The next, we want to discuss on the basis of we need to discuss about the distribution. On the basis of distribution, we can divide the natural resources into two. They are ubiquitous and localized resources. The ubiquitous, which means everywhere or omnipresent. So resources that are found everywhere like air, water, soil are called ubiquitous resources. Which means some resources we can find everywhere and all over the globe. Such resources are called ubiquitous resources, which is present in everywhere or omnipresent resources. On the other hand, the localized resources, some resources we can find only in some area, special location or special area. Such resources are called localized resources. Resources which are found only in certain places are localized resources like petroleum in Mumbai High and iron ore in Karnataka belt. Such are the examples of localized resources. The next, we need to discuss how we can conserve the resources. The conservation of resources refers to using the resources carefully and giving them time to get renewed. So here, the renewable resources, we already discussed about the renewable resources. We can recreate or renew within a limited period of time. Such resources, we need to use it carefully and we need to give them time to get renewed. Then we can use it for a long time. For example, in the case of forest or water, if you are continuously over exploiting such resources, it will perish or it will finish one day or quickly. So we should give time to them to get renewed. Then we can use it for a long time. The next, the sustainable use of resources refers to the balancing the need to use resources and also conserve them for future generation. Here, the non-renewable resources like petroleum, natural gas or coal, it have a fixed amount or fixed deposit. So if you are over exploiting such resources, it will perish one day. So we need to reduce the usage and we should conserve it for the future generation. We need to conserve it for the future generation. They also have the right to get all these resources. We need to consider their interest and their needs. So we need to minimize our usage of the non-renewable resources and we should preserve it for the future generation. Thank you.